Good morning. Happy Sunday, January 29th. I always gotta look at the date. I never think really about the date. Like I know what day it is, but I don't think a lot about what the date is. But I love doing these Sunday streams. They get a slightly different audience that always says, hey, I missed a live stream because you're in the wrong time zone for me when you go live on Thursdays, which is usually around 3 or 4 o'clock. I try to be consistent, but sometimes life gets in the way or events get in the way. Some events just happen to happen on Thursday. But glad to see so many of you here already. I also am adding what platforms I'm doing this on. And I think if there's someone who might know more about this, or maybe Travis can give me a suggestion, should I include Twitch on this as well? Should I start building a Twitch following? I love doing live streams. They're a lot of fun. Twitch seems to lend itself to doing live streams. So figuring out what other platforms I want to like broadcast these on. Also, I'm going to, and I kind of abandoned it for a long time, but there seems to be at least some of an audience there. And I have to kind of just say, hey, I should be where my audience is, which includes other platforms such as Facebook. So maybe I'll post a little bit more on my business Facebook as well. So that's on my to-do list, expand into some of those things, just kind of broaden it. I got aggravated with Facebook, and not, privacy aside, it just seemed to be the place where the most amount of messages came over stupid stuff. So yeah, there are some caveats. We'll discuss it later. Not live. Yeah, that's fine. For those of you who know, Travis does work in my office. So we chat all the time. So with all your free time, I know. People ask how much I work, and I have no idea. I don't have any definition, or I'm not good at defining what is work and what is not work. That's probably the trickiest thing is having some divider. Like if you work a regular job, you have a divider. Like I work these hours or on these projects as requested by my employer. Well, I am my own employer for the last 20 years now. So I work on the projects that I request. Therefore, I don't know what's work and what's not because I just love doing this. I guess the lines could be drawn of I was playing a game the other day, so I guess that's not work. That's about it. Riding my motorcycle, not work. So those going for a walk, I don't know. I often listen to books while I go for a walk, and I do walk a lot, listen to books and podcasts. So that is probably not. I don't know where that falls in terms of work or not. You can see how this becomes tricky. Is this work? I love doing this. It's not like I'm even. I mean, granted, the little bit of ad revenue I get, but and maybe a few of you throw a few dollars at me. I don't know if this is work, but it's definitely fun. I don't know. So that is a existential question I wrestle with from time to time. I wouldn't exclude. I always, even when I promote that I'm going live, the promotion is always that I'm on the live stream on YouTube, even though like this is the first time I actually put this live on Twitter, but I also promoted on Twitter to go to the YouTube. YouTube is where I think the best experience is in terms of live stream, maybe Twitch too. People really seem to like the live on Twitch. I don't know because I don't watch anybody on Twitch, so I don't know what the draw to the platform is. Like being honest, I don't know. I'm not saying it because I looked at it and say I don't get it. I'm saying I haven't even looked at it. I just can't even think of a time I've used Twitch at all. I'm highly aware of Twitch, but that's as far as my Twitch experience goes. I'm aware people use it. It seems to be popular. It exists. We got people from Granville, Ohio, India, Montreal. We got people from all over the place here. Awesome. It's always neat to me of the global nature of the platforms. So yes. Would you have courses on O'Reilly? Not really. I can't think of any particular. I think O'Reilly makes a lot of good books, but I don't have a particular course I would recommend because I haven't taken any. And it's been forever since I read a book from O'Reilly that I can think of. And when it comes to technical stuff, I usually don't read the whole books. I usually just find the excerpts I'm looking for to solve a problem I have or a challenge I need to overcome. So I don't know. I don't know that I've read a cover to cover tech book in forever. When I was younger, before the internet, before my gray hair, there was a lot of books I read, and I don't even remember the names of all of them. And they're also probably not going to be incredibly relevant here in 2023. But in the 90s, man, I was an absolute crazy bookworm. I read so many books in the library, engineering, electrical. So I don't have a college education at all. I started in high school skipping classes to go to the library because I didn't like any of the available courses to me. So my history of just spending tons of time in a library or reading in general has been since I was a kid. So very, yeah, that's one thing I maybe have some regrets is not keeping a journal of all the books I read, because that would have been kind of fun. Like I would probably remember if someone asked me and said, "Hey, did you read?" and said the name of the book, I might remember, but that's about it. Um, I didn't even collect all these. Well, later I became a little bit of a data hoarder, but now I data hoarded books, not only the ones I read, but all the ones I didn't. So even though I've back in the BBS days, I would download all kinds of technical stuff. I don't remember how much of it I've read. I just started collecting it because I could. And that was like my reasoning. I can, therefore I will. Oh boy, I've got a lot of stuff. And I know I've read at least some of this. Matter of fact, I can say something I have read, and I'm not. My collection is broken, but behind me, for those of you that don't recognize this, I have some 2,600 books. Now, all the ones I purchased were read cover to cover many times, and I have not a complete, but a pretty good collection. I started in the 90s for these, and they weren't like bought as a collection. They were bought as they came out. I don't remember when I stopped reading it. I want to say it was around 2008 or 9, but from the 90s until right around 2009, 2010 maybe is when I kind of stopped buying every single version of it. I thought about going back that many years, getting that collection, or any ones I'm missing in between, because I randomly read it now, and putting it all together. It's like something I'll do and just burn through all these books again and read them. It might be fun just to read all the ones I have. There's a handful behind me. There's boxes of them behind me somewhere. The collection got broke a little bit. Still testing pfSense in a VM on Proxmox, and it works like a champ, trying to justify spending $200 to $300 for a netgate. We use pfSense in a VM for testing all the time. It comes down to complexity and whether or not you want to manage that complexity. It's not something I think is a terrible idea or anything like that. But the problem I would say I usually get is the people who have not really spent much time learning virtualization, learning pfSense, or understand networking very well. And I think it could be a big learning opportunity, but they have the most likelihood of goofing it up. Like if you're not good at any of those other things, if you're not good at virtualization or have a good understanding of it, I mean, good loading pfSense will help you gain an understanding of it. It will push you in that direction for sure. But it's just about how fast you want to get things running or how much learning you want to do. I think it's a great learning opportunity. If you set the goal of, I don't know what virtualization is, but I want to run pfSense in a virtual machine. Awesome. You've now set your goal, and now you have to build all the knowledge it takes to get to where you need to be. Those type of learning processes are what work for me very well. And I imagine a lot of you as well. Like you start with that whole, I have this thing I want to get done. And then you assemble all the pieces of knowledge you're missing in between to achieve your goal. That's like my best way I learn. Tom, you should teach on O'Reilly. There's a lot of traction there. Live sessions. You're a guru. Practical knowledge networking Proxmox will be appreciated. I've debated about this because some of my friends have bounced back and forth. There's a couple challenges. One of them is it's a whole other set of content. They usually have rules that I can't post the same content on YouTube. And I feel like if I post on places like Udemy and just any of those other platforms, I'm actually making it harder for my audience to consume my content. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I'm more than happy to willing to listen to objections on that particular topic. But I find those places, by the way, they don't pay very well compared to what you make on YouTube either, which is one of the reasons they lose. This is actually a challenge some of the learning places are having, is losing a lot of top talent to YouTube because YouTube just pays better. And it it's one of those things, like if I was going to be a full-time creator, which by the way, I'm not, I have a business, I run an IT services company, but if I was just to be a full-time creator and I was going, all right, I want to be an educational content creator, Bluetooth YouTube, if you're good at it and you put the time and effort in, is a way more lucrative way to make money than working for any of the you have to get like to professor level for the money you might make on YouTube doing this. I've talked about this before on my channel. I've talked about it on LinkedIn, where I've also got this live of how much you make on YouTube. And it's just one of those things. You build a big channel, you'll make substantially more than you'll working those places, which also come with lots of restrictions, hard for me to also want to post on. But I'm, like I said, completely willing to list objections on that if I'm wrong. Hello from Paris, or bonjour. I think I say that right. Sorry, don't speak any French. I know that word. I built my PF Sense box and physical box, i5 CPU, and it's great. I still have much to learn on it, but working very well. Awesome. Who dummy? You dummy. Actually, I should probably pull that up. Me and Jay from Learn Linux TV, he did some experiments on this, and this is Udemy Academy. Um, it's another, platform for learning. And Jay was shocked at how little traction he got versus how much effort it was to produce all the content and courses. I believe he has since actually pulled some of his courses from there. On this topic, I want to mention something really quick here. Let me pull it up. I'll drag it over to the other screen here. I think this is really amazing. I am a big fan of education, and I'm also a big fan of the John and Hank Green, and Study Hall is a way for people. This is great for people looking to get some classes. If you haven't heard of it, Study Hall is a new path to earning college accreditation. Now, this is bigger than just tech. This is more about a more general education, but Study Hall is a new path to earning college credits before you even apply. Explore helpful videos about how to college, fast guides to majors from the teams at Crash Course and ASU Educators. Get started in college level fun foundational courses, and the credits are transferable. This is a really inexpensive way to explore your interests, figure it out without the college debt. And for a very small amount of money, if you go through these courses and do the tests that are doing it, this is brilliant work by Hank Green here. It's a long time in the making. I just check it out. If it's one of those things that's just super cool to me, that they're offering this to people, because educating people is near and dear to my heart. We need smarter people. Well, we need more educated people. Smarter and educated. No, but we need more educated people. Thanks for the great content you give. Most of my PSS knowledge from your channel. Awesome. Yes, I'm going to continue to use Zorus. Smash that like button. Got to get around PF Sense and a VM, living overseas and trying to keep everything one box, also high from China. Happy Sunday, Brett. Problem on learning platforms, find you either are super top level or start way over my head. Yeah. It kind of depends. I mean, it's hard to build because it's hard to first qualify before you build. What's your knowledge starting? Because some people say, oh man, this PF Sense video is way over my head because I don't understand networking. I'm like, well, you probably shouldn't start with a firewall. You should probably start with networking. And I'm not the networking 101 guy. I usually start with advanced because I don't have time to create all the 101 content. It's not that I don't know it or have good ways to explain it. It comes down to I'm only one person, but there's plenty of people who create some very 101 content that gets you involved, gets you engaged. And then you go, well, that I now want to go further than this person can teach me. And that's where I think that the whole, YouTube ecosystem works so well because there's such a variety of creators on there that are at every level. College degree, the new high school diploma. Awesome. I think Udemy here in Brazil is good because it's really affordable compared to IT Pro TV. Now, that's a big point too. Is it if it works for you, great. That's absolutely important. Is that it is a system that works for you. That's always what it starts. There's a lot of people that, in Michael here saying Udemy has a networking class for beginners. That's how I learned about networking. Great, and maybe that's exactly where you want to be. Is learning some of that. That's absolutely it's everyone starts at their own level, and I think having more of this available to people is how we get better, how we put this together as your own course, kind of finding your own way. It always starts with, like I said earlier, the goal you have. What is the end result that you want to have? Can you make a PF Sense video and gaming? Is there any special settings apply for better experience? You know, I don't think there's. I don't know if I need to make a video on this or not, because it's not really much. I don't have any special settings for mine, but there's exceptions, and one of those exceptions is actually an incredibly popular post in my forums that I'll throw a link here for you real quick. Um, but yeah, the PF Sense with multiple Xboxes and certain challenges that may come with it. I guess that's a gaming. Most of the time, there's nothing to do with gaming. Like I play some games, not many, and I don't have any special setting. My son plays a ton of games, and there's no special settings in PF Sense. There's not really anything special you need to do unless, and this is the unfortunate side of it, some games will need UPnP turned on. Sorry, and you can go, but Tom, isn't UPnP a problem? Yeah, build a different IoT network and turn on UPnP. Yes, it allows things to come back in. Don't really have an answer. Figuring out what ports games use and if they use something dynamic is its own challenge. So the video on gaming and PF Sense is a video about which game are you playing, which of course doesn't make it easy. Would you make a video on how to do multiple DNS servers on a single IP address? You can specify multiple DNS servers. That's the way you do it. You don't put multiple DNS servers on one IP. You put multiple DNS servers and you build them with their own separate IP addresses. Good video on pertaining forwarding, such as already. Yeah, there is a port forwarding video I have already. I just want to say, enjoy your content. Even a seasoned IT guy can pick up something new from your content. Yeah, one of the things I try to bring is I stay, as the term I've heard frequently used, a little bit deeper in the weeds. That's because I work as an IT professional, doing essentially I'm on blue team to describe my job a little better is running. Well, I'm also a business owner, but I'm managing the IT side of things. I'm making sure security's done right. I have an entire staff of people, and then we manage businesses and manage all their security. So my experiences are from that real world work that I do. So part of my time is spent doing that. Part of my time is spent making videos about what I do. But cue circular conversation very beginning of what's work and what's not work. We are on 3 Xboxes and my PC, and of course, whatever my wife is utilizing. Thank you for the answer. Yeah, if you're running multiple Xboxes UPnP, that link might help if there's some challenge. Someone was messaging me wanting me to really help them with their PS5 to test something. I'm like, I don't have a PS5. I can't test this. Like they're having some challenge with some game they play on PS5, and I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, well, this game isn't working right, and I think it's PF Sense. I said, I don't know. I don't have a PS5 or that game. That can be kind of a challenge. So you kind of feel your own way for it. And because I'm not a big gamer, it goes outside of it. Most of my content is extremely driven by what I do and what I am doing or what projects I'm working on. That is the biggest part of where my content comes from. I think very little about, because it's not my job to do so, all the different NIST standards and what are my thoughts on it. I have a business channel though, where Brett Chittum, if he's still paying attention to this, does cover all the NIST stuff because that is Brett's problem. Brett is one of the people that is taking the time to educate himself on all the different standards. I don't have to, not necessary. If I look up something, I make sure which guidelines I need to be following, but they're always very general. So I am, yeah, right there. Brett says he is familiar with it, but it's one of those things like I'm very general and all the guidelines are general. So if I have a specific compliance, we can summarize the customers' needs and making sure we're doing things within their compliance. So, but we have clients that have all kinds of different things like that. Yeah, my video on getting started, I'm making the 2023 edition. I've been waiting for a big version of pfSense because a long video, that video is like an hour and a half long. And making an hour and a half long video and all the detail I put into it is a couple day time suck for me of putting that together. So I usually, wait till there's a major version change to do that. Hi, Tom. Do you have any experience in set up a scheduled backups of data storage ZFS? So VMCTs themselves from TrueNAS or Proxmox. Scheduled backup of data storage ZFS pools. I mean, that's not a easy question to answer because you're not giving me much context here. I mean, if I were to say, hey, we looked at this. We'll log into this system tasks and we look at replication tasks. There we go. There's my scheduled backup of data in my pools. So if that answers your question, awesome. You can do that in TrueNAS. Or were you asking about scheduled backups like this of all my VMs inside of XCP-ng? I have those scheduled too. They run, here's another one I just ran a few minutes ago, and some of these are just automated, like the lab pool metadata backup and things like that. That question needs a lot more context. I have a forum if you need a deeper answer on that. That video transfer 2.6, yeah. It's when they get to the 2.7, there's enough changes that I need to make the new video. In 2.7, here it is. I mean, 2.7 definitely is in development right now. We can update to the latest version. Let's do that now. Why not update to the latest one while we're here? Because, got to do something in the background. I don't make any content in OpenStack because I don't use OpenStack. So if I don't use a product at all or have any interest in using, or I don't think it's something, it's like not worth my time to dive into because it's just not my field of expertise. So yeah, that's why I don't do anything with OpenStack. I don't think there's anything wrong with OpenStack. I just don't use it. The streaming service uses your location by content from the market you live in. I like the VPN videos, create site to site when I'm in South Carolina to my New York market content. Yeah, that's a whole fun thing. Kids, multiple Xboxes, DM's easier, friend. Put all the stuff. Like my son is not on the same network as me. There's a reason. That kid's clicking on stuff. All right. He's playing games. He's loading extra things for games and whatever he does. Yeah. Awesome. Glad the TrueNAS tip is helpful. 2.7. Dang, this one I thought was good. 2.7 is not available yet. 2.7 is still in beta. We're going to update it a little bit. We'll update all the way to these are the snapshot versions. So we'll update to this. We're doing it live. Let's see what happens if it breaks or something. If a DNS server fails, normally Windows takes a long time to select a second. My question was how to make a failover that impact the server is down. There's not really a way. You shouldn't have your DNS server failing. There's not like you don't put multiple on a single. I mean, granted, I mean, if you want to get a more complicated answer, you could put DNS and have a load balancer behind it between multiple servers. That's just another way to do it. Really focus on why is the DNS server failing. DNS servers don't usually fail. And usually you want local DNS. For example, if you're on a Windows domain, your Windows domain controller should be your DNS server. If you don't have a Windows domain, pfSense should be your DNS server, and pfSense shouldn't be down with the DNS because it handles the upstream DNS. So from a local client standpoint, it should be pretty transparent. The local clients usually need a DNS server, and you solve it at the server level, one level up. Speaking of networking, we're going to mention Microsoft outage on Monday. Glad I'm not the only guy who pressed the button on that chain. Yeah, Microsoft outage. Shocking. It's another day. Microsoft has never been up 24/7 for an entire year. Very few companies have. Microsoft seems to have a few more outages, but hey, whatever, it happens. Have you noticed shared storage in Proxmox 7.3 has issues? Well, I don't use Proxmox, so I can't answer that. Maybe someone else can. Plans on using Grand Streams? Low on my list of things I want to test. I know Willie loves them, and I'll leave it to Willie Howe to keep making videos on it. But I've not seen anything so compelling about them that I thought they were awesome. But maybe I just haven't learned about them enough. TrueNet's videos are great. HP Workstation, NAS, share folders, awesome. DNS dist. Someone says can use high availability and do failovers. Cool. Well, Pi-hole is not designed for high availability, so now you have a different problem. With Pi-hole not being designed for high availability, you would have to build your own load balancer and put it in front of a couple Pi-holes. I mean, that's a way out of scope of what I can talk about in a live stream. Yeah, I don't even run Pi-hole. I just run PF Blocker. Pi-hole, but people usually tell me, but I like the pretty reports. And I'm like, well, I don't care about pretty reports that much. Not for DNS. Matter of fact, I use uBlock Origin more than I use any DNS blocking. I have no help for people using PPOE. It's just not used here in America much. And even on the consulting jobs you do, because it's mostly with businesses, it doesn't seem to be used in business much. I know PPOE is used a lot outside the US. I just don't have any experience with it. Posting in their forums is the best bet. I don't have any way to test it. And if I were to build my own PPOE server to do the testing, I would probably build it right and it wouldn't fail. A lot of it has to do with, I think, the company's not building their infrastructure well. Do you use any of the big vendors, software as a service like Azure? Yes. Google Workspace? Yes, I'm on Google Workspace. G Cloud, Amazon Web Service. I think we have some clients using AWS. What you don't like about them? They're all expensive. The bill only goes up. Compute power gets cheaper. Cloud companies charge more. That's my summary for all of them. But for small business, they're kind of a necessary evil because there's still less money as of right now. There's less money to use Gmail than it is to run your own mail server. If you want to have it maintained properly, I should add to that. Sorry if I missed this. Stepped away. If you have an AMD storage server in Roseville, I think you have any constraints because of lack of PCI lanes in the M4. You have a 25 gig. I have a 25 gig NIC, not a 25 SFP 28. No, I don't have any problems with it. Yes, it works. I have an AM4 CPU, it's kind of storage server, but I keep reading about difficulties related to a few PCI lanes. The reality is, are you using NVMEs? If you're not using NVMEs, you're not going to hit 25 gig. So are you trying to build something with enough PCI lanes and you need NVMEs and you're going to saturate a 25 gig? If you don't have NVMEs, you're not saturating a 25 gig. That's usually where the problem is. Matter of fact, that's the problem some people had. Someone was complaining they weren't getting the full speed out of their 25 gig. They had spinning Rust drives. I'm like, I don't know what you were expecting. Like if you're using drives that are, standard old spinning Rust hard drives, you have a different bottleneck. It's not your networking. You want to create your own company? Watch my business channel. Think carefully before you start your own company. I'm not saying not to. I just remind people, and I just had a video I posted called I Hate My Job Is Not a Business Plan. And I want to be very clear on that. That is not how business plans work. And it's why so many people start their businesses is this place sucks. I'm going to go do it for less and do it on my own. And they don't get a better outcome like they were really hoping. Running the business is more careful. It's not that you can't do it. You just need to go into it very open-minded and understanding of what those needs are. And that's why I have a video on my Business Technicalities channel. And you know what? Let me link to it real quick. That video is This is a link I made with a URL shortener that I'll throw in here for everyone who wants to go to my. It's lawrence.video/biz. That's my business technicalities channel. It's just I started doing a URL shortener. That's the new change I made for the channel. I mean, PFSense dual WAN failover and fallback is not working. Any suggestions? Not with PPOE. I have no idea. I have a dual WAN failover video though. Is there a way to back up Dropbox from Synology? What do you do for cloud backup? Uh, I don't know about. Maybe I haven't used Dropbox in years, so I don't really have much of an answer on Dropbox. How do I do cloud backup? Is easy. Backblaze. Backblaze is my favorite backup. We also do C2. Synology C2 is very reasonable as well. And home users get more bandwidth, almost nothing these days. Yeah, that's true too. It's got well, that's relative. Any recommendations for network camera management other than Blue Iris or Surveillance Station? No, I use Surveillance Station and some UniFi. Mostly Surveillance Station is my favorite. Hey, Jimmy the IT guy. Afternoon. We have a lot of good business stuff on there. Yes. Residential uptime and latency can be rough. It can be, it's not guaranteed. I wouldn't call it that rough, but it's sometimes there less guarantees are made for residential. Failover works fine. Use a little script, put interface and PPE link down and back up. Okay. And you can run scripts in PFSense if you didn't know. There is a where it's under services. There's it's so rarely that I use it. It's one of those we're fixing some problem that has been created. I think maybe it's under. I think it's a package you have to load. Yeah, you can install cron, and this will give you. You can edit cron scripts and have it check things, and this might be very helpful for some people. Thank you very much for your donation, Ryan. You helped me so much, my MSP. Awesome. Glad I could help you there. Would you be able to recommend MDM UEM solutions to manage laptop clients, users, Google Workspace ecosystem? Nothing specific. I mean, we use Ninja One RMM for managing all the workstations, so that's our use case for it. Ninja One is what we use to manage all the different companies that we're managing. A lot of residential connections has terms that prohibit anything, but you can, but it could make your ISP boot you off. Yes. And actually, even residential people, it's not too hard to get. You could do like some basic registration stuff for a business in most states, and then tell Comcast, "Hey, I'm a business, even though I work out of my home." And Comcast is like, "Cool, here's the business plan." Services current. Yep. I'm a fan of Blue Iris, hence my channel, but Shinobi is a good open source security. Yeah, there's Shinobi. There's also Frigate. I don't really have time to test all these. I'll at least throw them out there if someone else does, because I'm not going to use them commercially. They're fun projects. They're not good that I've seen any at all. They're not good for deploying and managing at customers. We sell and manage things at scale with customers. Therefore, when we're doing this, we need something that also works at scale. I think I probably got like here's an example. This photo is actually older, but it's one of the reasons I want to point it out. We use a lot of these Amcrest cameras, and I see a lot. Like we're doing 30, 40, 50 cameras for a client. We're doing all these installs, and we want to make sure it's easy to update, easy to manage, and easy for the client to be able to view the cameras, usually on their phone or remotely. And Synology Surveillance Station checks all those boxes commercially. Now, for home users, well, you're willing to, because you're watching this video, you're someone who likes to dive into things hands-on and technical. Playing with those other things is definitely a lot of fun. Recommended amount of RAM for a Graylog server. Is Graylog a good alternative? Something like NetData. Graylog and NetData are two different things completely. Uh, I mean, they both run on computers, so we're stretching here. But logging and running a system that just kind of monitors is two different things. So NetData gives you I love NetData, by the way. Let's pull up my NetData first. But Graylog is awesome. So I also do love there, but here's NetData. If we look at NetData, we can see all my nodes here. Let's go ahead and click on some of them and what they're doing. Hey, let's look at Graylog and NetData. And how much memory do you need? This is a fun one because let me zoom in, make it prettier. We can look at the loads and things like that. And generally speaking, right now, you can say, Tom, it's not doing much. So even though you have all that RAM assigned to it and it's the CPUs, you got 24 cores, they're pretty much idle all the time. That's because I'm not logged into Graylog right now. So, but if we log into Graylog, and how much you need for Graylog is dependent on what you're going to be doing with it. But for what we do with Graylog, I'm logging in on one side, but going to show you what happens in the, so where's it playing? Sure. All right, cool. Now, if I log in here and I'm going to go to one of my dashboards, just so I can, I'll do a heavy query here. And we'll do, like, let's say for the last 5 days. Now you can see how much CPU it uses. So it's one of those things that Graylog is going to use. And let's see, do we have like let's do the last 5 minutes. I have a whole video on NetData, by the way, but you can see just doing a couple queries, opening and log. This is logging in right here. This first hit. This is just opening one dashboard, which you can see, spike the CPU usage up quite a bit. And then here's a query inside that dashboard. So it's really not that it needs a lot to get started. It needs a lot over time and depending on how much data you keep in there and how much you want to index. If I were to run a heavier query for something like, the last 90 days has this IP address been talked to in the last 90 days because I dump everything from pfSense into it. Now you're talking about something that's substantially more. Intune's a disaster that that Microsoft has. I don't know how to use it, but I employ people that do. So that's how I feel about it. Managing for business is very different from running one instance in a lab or home. Oh, yeah. Going back to emojis and emoji settings in Orchestra, are they showing XOA light? Okay, they are showing an XOA. Awesome. What experience do you have with the UniFi switches in terms of network performance compared to HPs? I feel like the UniFi network throughput isn't spectacular. I don't have any problems with them. Matter of fact, this goes through the cheapest switches to the most expensive ones, with the exception of routing. If you're doing routing on a switch, that's a different topic. But the 10 gig switches work at 10 gig. The 25 gig switches work at 25 gigs. This goes even for cheap switches, expensive switches. It has been a long time since I've seen a switch that won't do the speed that the ports connect at. They forward traffic fine. I haven't found any problems with, even your off the wall, some of the weird off brand ones that we've seen. If they're a 1 gig switch, they usually work at 1 gig, so on and so forth. So that hasn't really been an issue. What is your opinion on mini PC? Do you have one to recommend? I don't have any particular one I recommend. What's your take on Jumbo Friends 10G and 25G? If you lock down to your storage network, and I probably sooner or later will do a video on this, on your storage network, you can get a little bit more performance out of adding jumbo frames. That's about it. It's not substantial. It's not night and day. It's not doubling your performance. You will incrementally get a little bit more performance. So my take on it is I've had to fix it because people don't know how to set it up or configure it or understand some of the problems and challenges that come with it. And it has caused more people to lose data than, well, I mean, probably not the most. Not having things backed up properly is probably the number one killer for data. But I've done a handful of consulting where people had a bunch of crashes on everything from iSCSI. Um, they worsen their performance by doing it by not having the proper settings because there can be different settings on a per switch basis that you need to make it work properly. So if you are trying to inch out the absolute most amount of performance, yeah, you can do it. That's my take on it. I worked with security cameras for a while. Can you confirm cheap Chinese NVRs? I can confirm cheap Chinese NVRs are not fun. Yes. Does 2FA and Bitwarden require enterprise license, or is that just 2FA on Volt storage? The only thing they require a license for on Bitwarden, and it's on their Bitwarden pricing page, is if you want to use seeing. So it's not just it's called advanced 2FA. That would be the way to describe it. You still get 2FA with all of them. You just don't get YubiKey on there unless you pay. So it's you get 2FA, you just have to get YubiKey. YubiKey is what you get when you pay. Oh yeah, check. I do have that video for net data, so it is net data is awesome. Like I said, I just think it's a great system. By the way, you notice it's been a few minutes, so there's me querying the dashboard, and then there's Graylog going back to sleep. But this is also why I have my Graylog server has 24 cores. You know, it only really peaks in usage, especially disk usage, when there's some queries. If we look at the stats here, you can see when I did queries, but most of the time it's sitting really, really quiet. So I know people who use Vios, but I'm not among them. I don't know Vios. It's a cool thing if you want to play with it. What question did I skip? I don't see the question, maybe. Nope, don't see your question. I see your name once. I try to answer everybody's questions, but I've spent too much time looking. I don't see your name showing up more than once. I'm curious. All right. Would you buy a framework laptop or System 76? That's a good question. Neither one of them had the OLED screen I wanted. So my most recent laptop purchase was a Dell because the screen was brilliant and amazing, and I was dead set on buying an OLED laptop. So my only reason for not choosing one of those had to be the fact that I needed an OLED laptop. Other than that, I think they're great products. And I know System 6 has an OLED one. I just don't know. I didn't have enough information on it to make my case because Asus and Dell both make OLED laptops. The Asus one sucks. When you look at them side by side with my Dell laptop has one of the most brilliant OLED screens I've seen. And I looked at it side by side at Best Buy. I went over to Best Buy and looked. I couldn't believe how dull Asus made an OLED laptop. Like literally, the reason you buy an OLED laptop is for the screen, and somehow Asus made one that had an inferior screen, and the Dell screen is like just blew me away. And I don't know if there's any easy way for me to do a review of something like that. It's not a good fit for my channel, but it's also, I can't really express how good the OLED screen is unless you also see it side by side compared to other things. So that's a challenge. I just did a switch to Bitwarden, sifting through all the passwords. I need to change. Awesome. Hello, you recommend pfSense OpenSense for home? So it's better to have a single pane of glass from Ubiquiti. Could get the sense that's stable enough for production. I mean, for home users that don't need any advanced features, UniFi is great. The moment you need VPN features is the first example of UniFi falling flat. So UniFi just doesn't give you many advanced features in our routing equipment. They give them to you in a weird way. So they're not like they finally kind of have WireGuard only with the UDM SE. They're actually making their product line harder to talk about, or maybe they're creating more to talk about so there's more content. But I'm going to do an updated video on it so I can answer that question again here in 2023 because things have changed in the last few months. They finally added a feature, but it's only to a very specific model and not all the models, which cause confusion to people. And it's hard to keep up with them, like, as multi-site management is listed as a UniFi function, but it's not available on the UDMSC. You're locked out of it on that. And this is something people get very aggravated about is they can't do multi-site management on UDM, even though it still runs the same software that you can run on a cloud key. Would you consider making content? Your thoughts on Intune alternatives? My coworkers love it. I think Microsoft's made it overly complicated is my answer for it being a disaster. As Microsoft does, they made it way harder to use than it should be. That's my answer for disaster. Like if you make it hard, people are not going to use it properly. They're going to do things wrong. And Microsoft has the resources to make something good. They have simply chose not to. So that's my answer for it being it. But I mean, that's one of those things. Like some people think Cisco's amazing and they hate the fact that when anything's made easier, some people don't like it because they're like, hold on, my value I provide is knowing this incredibly complicated thing that I've spent some incredible amount of time doing. This is also why I think a lot of programmers are probably more jaded about things like ChatGPT because they're like, I spent 20 years accumulating all this knowledge and look at these people that just typed in a query in ChatGPT. So yeah. NetData dashboard is on Docker. No, you can run NetData in Docker. Their dashboard is not in Docker. Their dashboard is in their cloud. It runs individually on each machine. So you can view NetData on an individual machine, but their cloud, as of right now, to my knowledge, only is available via their cloud. Why OLED? Because OLED is beautiful. There is no better reason. Once you've seen it and you've looked at it, you're like, oh, that's amazing. My TV is OLED. My laptop is OLED. I just love OLED. Dell over them both for business just because pro support. Yeah, that is a nice feature. Do you run? I run MB, not Plex. I ran Plex for years. I bought one of those subscriptions for Plex forever ago. I just kept having stupid problems with it. I couldn't answer it myself. It just kept pausing a lot, and I don't know why. I run MB and I run it on a Synology. MB works great on Synology, by the way. And MBC, I like the simpler, like Plex, I feel kept adding more and more, and MB feels back to the simple. I just want to play movies. I don't want a lot of extras. I don't want things hard to find. I just want to play movies or shows or whatever I've downloaded onto my server, and that's it. I have a Lenovo X1 Carbon. I looked at that one too. I thought the X1 Carbon with OLED was a pretty good choice as well. What about 1676 laptops? They make great laptops. They're not going to be the cheapest ones, but they're going to be extremely Linux friendly. Do you need a load balancer when you can use primary and secondary? Do you need the load balancer when you can use primary and secondary DNS server? Yeah, a person was trying to stop any pausing that occurs when there's a failed DNS in Windows. Use Intune, it's good. Takes some time to config. That takes some time to config is quite the understatement, Jimmy. I'm gonna throw that out there. Framework optimize the power consumption a bit more. 4K OLED would be feasible with any realistic battery life. Yeah. Framework gets lots of YouTube views. That's probably true. You might want to wait a couple months for the UniFi stuff. They just released a huge network update that requires UniFi 3.1x. And coming soon. I have heard coming soon now since last year. I did a video ranting about coming soon since last year. Coming soon is not a timeline. Why did UniFi abandon? Why does UniFi anything? They don't give roadmaps. I can only leave it at that. Intune agree is overly complicated, but some good tools. Yeah, there's good things you can do with it. Yeah, gatekeepers for IT are miserable people. Yes, there are many of them. Combine Intune with ChatGPT. Now, if this actually could be one of the reasons Microsoft's buying this, Microsoft's going, hold on, we are absolutely bad at writing interfaces. Microsoft, you suck at writing interfaces. But hear me out, guys. ChatGPT is an interface to your overly complicated stuff that you're not even sure how it works. There you go. There's your $1 trillion idea. Microsoft doesn't care about $1 million. Microsoft doesn't care about $1 billion. They care about $1 trillion ideas. So ChatGPT managing Intune, yes. What's the best way to migrate your data off on RAID to TrueNAS scale? rsync. I would assume rsync would be the best way, but I don't use on RAID to know what protocols it has. I'm assuming it has rsync though. MB rocks. Even my sales guy was able to set it up. Brett's more than a sales guy. We call him the sales guy. He does a lot of the sales for the office, but Brett's technical too. I run Plex on Dell Optiplex i7. What do I gain by using MB using FreePlex? Nothing. You lose complexity, so you're losing, not gaining. If you are happy with Plex, I'm not here to convince you to not use it. I don't think there's anything wrong with Plex. I found a problem with Plex on my Synology that I'm pretty sure it's because I have too many networks. That's my guess. And I didn't spend too much time on it. I just got aggravated because it wouldn't happen all the time. When it would happen, it just drove me bananas. And I said, I'm going to give this MB thing a try because it's available on Synology. So I've been happy using that ever since. It's me cheating. I could have probably spent more time solving the problem, but I actually found a better solution. And so I've been using MB for like a year now. It could be that problem doesn't exist in Plex anymore that I had. But if you're in the middle of watching a movie that stops, you will solve the problem in your best. When you really want to watch something and you don't want to play with tech because you're trying to relax and watch some show, you will find a solution very quickly. I recently picked up an interest in home lab servers. Should I get an OptiPlex 9020 or an HPZ workstation for my first server? I would probably go OptiPlex. I think Dell's easier to find parts for, but you find the one that's best deal for you. If you're serious about router firewall, I wouldn't go for UniFi. That's true. I will leave that comment there for sure. Still need 25-year programmers to check to see if ChatGPT is giving the correct code. No, you need the programmers to see if it's giving secure code that works. And this is just a truth of the coding industry right now. Too many people stop when it works. Not enough people keep going until it's secure. Stopping when it works does not mean it's been debugged, and it especially doesn't mean it's secure. So I think that's where we're going to create a new problem with ChatGPT. I switched to Jellyfin because the extra stuff in Plex I don't want. Yeah, some people MB was in Synology, so there's my entire rationale for it. In case anyone's wondering, it just look at the pricing. It's not really a comparison. Figure out which price works for you. I think C2 is cheaper than S3. I don't know, and it may be where you're at. There could be different pricing tiers based on things, but yeah. Coming soon. Use MotionEye on Docker. Flash my wires RTS. Yes, I've thought about that. I liked MotionEye. I played with that for a while. I'm glad someone else picked up the project. MotionEye is a really cool project. Soon as my standard is, yeah. I use Synology Video Station, works better in Plex. Really, I've never tried the Synology Video Station. I might try that. I didn't even think to try it, honestly, so I'm glad you brought it up. I know it exists. Cyber Matt Lee. Me, Matt, and Jason Slagle have some great videos about getting hacked with Cisco and things like that. Look them up on my channel. Also, follow Cyber Matt Lee if you don't already. Easy enough to find. Look for Cyber Matt Lee. I like that he's got an easy combination of words that are easy to spell to figure out what he is. He talks about, he's got like a whole lot of acronyms after his name because he talks about all those things all the time. And he doesn't have room for all the acronyms he actually has. Because I learned he used to be into the finance world and also has another collection of acronyms. When do you think PF Sense will come out? I have no idea. What about using Grafana and Prometheus? I think it's a great idea. I have 0 videos on it, but you can find plenty of them. Can never have too many networks. Oh, I know. Other people saying Jellyfin is good. The only problem I have with Plex is that my main user sometimes can't access the server after reboot the Plex server. Matt tuned in at the right time. Good morning to Matt. I see lots of people saying good morning. Code that works but requires full admin root permissions is not working code. Oh, I don't know. I would still call it working code. I just call it insecure code. Like I said, lots of people stop on our code works, not when it's secure. That is kind of like that would summarize as the IT industry. That's why we're so busy all the time. Do you as an MSP offer management of Bitwarden for clients? I think not from your previously stated standpoint. If you do, consider using Bitwarden's dashboard. We resell Bitwarden, so yes, but we're not going to manage locally installed instances. It's not worth it. It I don't. It's one of those things like it's just cheaper to host it in their infrastructure. If there's some client need for it, there's going to be a cost associated with managing it. And they come up with updates maybe about once a month for Bitwarden. I mean, I could put a package together for someone who wanted it managed, but usually this is the problem I run into. We get small businesses contacting us saying, "Hey, I like you to manage my locally installed Bitwarden." No problem. And then they go, "But they look at the price, I'll quote them and say, "But I can get it cheaper from Bitwarden." I'm like, "What did you expect? I can't do it cheaper than Bitwarden. They're doing it at scale. Doing it one-off in your environment is not the same as doing it at scale in a large cloud-hosted infrastructure." So anytime someone asks, this is that same answer. Nextcloud management. Do you want me to manage an instance for Nextcloud? Sure, I'll manage and do all the updates for your Nextcloud instance. Here's the bill. And people go, "Well, I can just go get Office 365 cheaper." You sure can. So those are the rationales for it. I was going to do and I might still do some videos about what should be in the cloud, what shouldn't, just kind of talking about the rationale that comes with it, so you can have a better idea of it. It usually comes down to managing updates. Someone's got to pay to do it. Whether if you have a good internal team to manage updates, it might make sense. Watch your video on link aggregation using LACP and my quiz. Is it possible on WAN interface? Yeah, you can. You can do link aggregation on WAN interfaces. That is true. At least on pfSense. I'll assume you're talking about pfSense. Hi, Lawrence. Any thoughts on QNAP NAS? QNAP in general? I have a video on QNAP. I think they're hot garbage when it comes to security. I would not run a QNAP and publicly face anything because they are bad at security. They are slow to listen to security researchers. And usually only by bad publicity do they feel compelled to actually do something. Good point on secure code. Good afternoon from Denmark. Yes, we definitely reach out to Matt Lee. Brett, I think that's a great idea. I might not want to mention QNAP to Tom. We use them, and they do need. Well, yeah, don't expose them to the internet. Yeah, the security is just bad. Now, QNAP using them to run something else might be interesting. Use them to do something like I think you can load on. I don't know if this goes for all models, but some QNAPs you can load alternative software on there. That would be awesome. I've heard some people tell me their OS is buggy as well. How do you handle someone leadership constantly asks for admin rights? It doesn't. I don't know. It's just a dumb conversation you have with them. The best part is sometimes you can tell them they have it and give them read only rights and get away with it. I don't know. There's not an easy way to express how dumb of an idea it is. Make sure you create them separate than yours, but never give them your admin rights. Make them sign waivers to say that you're responsible for whatever dumb thing happens with this. You can usually talk people off of it. Start with why do you need them? Let's explain the use cases. Have a real, genuine conversation because just saying no won't get you anywhere. Does the last patch issue make this conversation harder for clients to utilize purchase Bitwarden? No, it makes it easier because some of them are using LastPass. Hey, Tom, just want to say thanks for all the info on Proxmox and stuff. I got them set up in my home lab. Info is really helpful. Wrote a few articles on the topics as well. Awesome. Do you think pfSense is a bit bad? in Hyper-V, Proxmox, or KMU. I don't know. I don't use Hyper-V, so I can't answer, but some other people said it works well in Proxmox. So I seen that early. That was some earlier comments on that. Tips for an SSD only TrueNAS. I don't know if I really have a tip on it. I mean, I've been running one for years. My TrueNAS is this is all SSDs. Has been for a while, so there's nothing special I'm doing for it. It works quite well, and this is running TrueNAS scale. But these are all what is it? There we go. Let me zoom in so it's easier to read. These are all Micron SSDs, type SSD. This is one of those weird things that people keep seeming to think that you can't run SSDs on here. I don't know. TrueNAS works fine with SSDs. That was a question that came up on my last live stream too. People thinking it wouldn't work. There's no real things you have to do. I don't think there's really. Is there anything in here? I think it just figures it out automatically. I don't think there's a single thing you have to do. Not in scale, at least. There's a checkbox in TrueNAS Core. I think it's under pool options. If you're running SSDs in Core, they have an auto trim option, but I think the auto trim is already on in scale. Google that. Ask in their forums. Maybe give them a local admin. Nah, if you want trouble. Question: I have a custom NAS with Xeon 32 and 12 slots for HDDs. You recommend HDD, Seagate, WD, which you trust more for this work? Yeah, both are good. No drive company is without failure. HGST has some of the best ones. I usually reference the my favorite place to reference is place. I love this. And since 2013, they've done all these reports. This is so great. This is Backblaze's drive report. So I usually buy the drives that they recommend. Importing your passwords from LastPass to Bitwarden is easy, but you need to remember to change all the passwords. Yeah. Have you compiled Gentoo? Maybe about 10 years ago or something. It's a forever ago thing. Synology is the same thing. What is it? Hold on. What are these messages? Interesting. All right. Oh, cool. Synology does the same thing with a bit better track record and security. I do have an interest in one of their HA SANs for SATA. Yeah, their HA SAN's really nice. Just enable trim and go. Yes. Is it safe to use external USB on Proxmox? It's all a laptop. I don't know about safe. Never used RoboForm. Have no opinion on it. Plex, you don't have to use relay. You do not have to use their relay multi-networks. Okay. Do you use Zoho Assist? Nope. We use Screen Connect. Does OpenSense seem to use more CPU power? I have no idea. That I'm not sure about at all. Greg and From, I think I heard you guys talk about CMFC. If this is true, is the best way to start the conversation. The conversation's usually started because the client needs to have it, not because we have to start the conversation. It's going, would you like to keep this government contract you have? Would you like to keep making widgets for the US government? You're going to need to be in compliance. And that causes them to go, hey, are you guys in compliance? How do we get in compliance? What does this mean? What are these words? So that's how CMC compliance comes up. It's usually driven by the client's needs. By the way, if you're an MSP and you're servicing clients that will in the future need CMMC and you are not, you may be in risk of losing those clients. multiple KVM hypervisors and multiple VMs on them with doc swarm running tasks, doc volume backup, working in infrastructure as code to automate adding, swapping hypervisor nodes, configuring KVMs. Do you have any suggestion for tips? It sounds like you are well underway for understanding that. I'm not sure what tips you were looking for. That's a lot of fun. Thoughts on 1Password? People seem to like it. I can't tell you a reason not to use it. Any tips on Wake on LAN, different LANs? I don't think Wake on LAN works over different LANs. Have a Raspberry Pi on each one of those LANs. Do Wake Up LAN via your pfSense, which is talking to all the LANs. You can do Wake on LAN inside of pfSense, and that's probably the best way. Recommendations to battle evil twin attack with UniFi or other solutions. We have students setting up mobile phones to mimic our SIDs. No, there's no easy way to do that. It's just, you're going to get it. I think, as far as I know, UniFi detects people doing it, but there's not a lot you can do about that. Nothing simple, at least. Everyone, seriously, buy coffee. Remember, Uchi takes half of every dollar. Give Tom your wallet. Good news. YouTube takes half of every ad dollar, but they don't take the donations you give to me. Just so you know. I would second remote access question. What do you use? Several methods, but different purposes. Matter of fact, if you want to see, because people ask, oh, great, my website's going slow. Why is my website going slow? If you go to the remote support part of our website, you'll actually see the Screen Connect embedded in there. I think my internet might be going slow, because I actually seen the stream give me an error that I having problems. I don't think it's actually my website. Refresh a page, magic. It works. But we're using Screen Connect. I have a USG Pro on my with my two US24 PoEs for my home network. Should I use the SFP ports to link everything together, or should Cat 6? This is one of those confusions. There really isn't a great deal of difference. It's picoseconds, nanoseconds between using a DAC cable and an RJ45 cable. So either one of them is going to get you the same amount of speed. Thoughts on UDM SE for home lab? Not if you want to do anything advanced. If you're being very basic, I think it will work. If you want anything advanced, then you're going to want to go with pfSense. Have you deployed Synology with their HDDs? Been experiencing more than normal failure rate when we have? I haven't really seen a problem with it. We did a medical place recently that I don't remember any problems at all. Not a one. So I haven't seen that. But then again, Synology doesn't make the drives, as people were so happy to point out many times in the comments on my Synology drive video. That being said, any drive company can have a bad run of drives. That's just a risk. Good news is they come with warranties, and that's just part of it. What make and model car do you use as your daily driver? Anything special sit in the garage? No, I used to be a car person. I am not the car person I used to be. Back in my day, I had all kinds of different hot rods and things like that, but I no longer have such things. So in my garage is a motorcycle, and what else is in my garage? My Tesla, but there's nothing exciting about it. Wonder if I have a picture of one of my old vehicles. Maybe. Nope. I forgot I had. There you go. This is one of my old hot rods. So that's one of my old ones. And if you want to know how old this photo is, there is my ex-wife being pregnant in it with my son, who's now, frequently in these videos. So this was from 2006. That's I just know I don't have to look at the date on the photo to know. So I used to build hot rods. I used to have different fast cars and things like that, but not so much anymore. I'll keep back on topic of tech. Just set up a dedicated PF Sense box. LAN errors using 2 different Intel cards and cables. Interesting. RJ45 DAC isn't any good advantage for surge protection. Not if you're using DAC, but if you use fiber, absolutely. Fiber creates a plastic, fibers are plastic between the two devices. So now 2 separate ends of the building connected with fiber versus some other type of, wire are now isolated. The reality is inside of a rack, if you're doing it locally, it doesn't matter because the surge is probably going to come from, the powering all of them. So you're more likely to have a problem related to that. Can you explain? Is it okay to set MTU and home switch? No, don't do that. This is where people break things. Don't do that. Don't set the high MTU unless you understand what you really need there. Keep in mind, HDA always fail, even SSDs regularly fail. They sure do. Fast server, fast cars. Oh, supercharger over turbo all day. I especially because of the era I grew up in, superchargers are what we would put on stuff, not turbos. Turbos were, something, I mean, with the exception, Grand Nationals made that popular in the 80s, 90s with the Grand National. I had a few friends that had those, but I was always like, if we're going to do it, we're doing it right. And we're definitely going supercharger. Which is funny, my car can support supercharger. My Tesla supports supercharging. Rack should be grounded. Yes. Tom replying to the hot rod. Yeah. Age will do it. Age and I don't know what else. I just got I got burned out on the hobby. I was really into that as a hobby, like the whole hot rod scene and stuff like that. I did it for years and then one day decided I was done. I wonder if I have a picture. So if I can find it, there's actually a fun picture I have. I built here, get an idea how old this picture is. This is one of my trucks I built too. And it purposely looks like that. I was into the rat rod or sleeper trucks, used to call them. That's got a Corvette engine in it. So that truck had a built engine that we dropped in it, and it was rusty. I left it kind of looking like that. It was primered, and but it had straight pipes, a Corvette engine, and used to make people laugh when I would take off in it. It didn't have the tires to get the grip, but it was always a fun when people go, "What is in that thing?" And the under the hood's amazing under it. But that's my daughter, and now she owns her own house now. If you know how long ago that was, so fun times. Awesome. Thank you very much, Michael. Turbos are way more common in general because turbos have become more reliable. Turbos were known for blowing up. That's one of the reasons we never had them. Turbo blowing up was like part of the reason you didn't like turbos. So that's definitely yeah. In your opinion, what's the best investment for small SP can make? They have $2,000 of free capital. You know, that's a tough one. I'm not gonna lie. 2000 is really, not where the problem is. For good marketing, you need more. So marketing is one thing to invest in, but before you market, and it all depends on where you are on like a maturity model and where you are as an MSP, you're really going to think about what are the things and gaps you have. Do you need more compliance understanding? Spending it on education would probably be a high priority. 2000, depending on how you stretch it, may or may not cover some of the education gaps, but also I don't know where your education gaps are. Yes, that was a Jack Russell in the truck. I follow a few YouTube dog channels. YouTube, why dog drag channels. Seems very expensive hobby with all the spare parts required. It is an expensive hobby. There is no doubt. I put a Corvette engine in BMW. Yes. You really need fuel injection? True. Hey, why not both? A lot of people answer marketing, but education first. Too many people start getting clients without knowing how to properly service them and then end up in trouble. Turbos for motorcycles, superchargers had a bit too much weight. I used to have a Yamaha XJ turbo. Um, Someone asked this question, so I can pull it up. He said, "What motorcycles do I have?" Um, Me and my friends are all into adventure riding. So it's usually like the big BMW adventure bikes. Having fun in the sand, crashing on. This was me riding with my friends just not that long ago. This guy just put his legs up. He didn't want to pick his bike up, so we're just taking selfies. But yeah, I like crashing large motorcycles. Way more fun than crashing small motorcycles. It's a good strength building technique to pick them up. And they look cool when I take pictures in the woods. Like, hey, you drive that beast? And I'm like, yes, I do. Matter of fact, I have like a 360 view. I have one of those 360 cameras where I can take pictures and stuff. So that's me on my Yamaha Super Tenere. That's the bike I probably ride the most. There. Now we got the motorcycle answers out of the way. Hi from Kenya. Thanks for your clarification on link aggregation. Have done any videos on implement IPv6? Nope, I do not do IPv6. We have a Jack Russell. They are awesome dogs. Engines over on this side were a lot smaller, so we had a ton of turbo. Yeah. We had all those big block engines because we have cheap fuel here. So we can my truck got 4 miles to the gallon. That's that orange truck I showed earlier. Favorite consumer or server motherboard for DIY PFSense? I don't have a favorite. Really, whatever works, whatever you have. 2 weeks ago, I got hacked. Believe they're using Microsoft's critical bug. I had to wipe my C drive to get back in control. How would you about protecting? There's not much protection PFSense can give you for Windows. The reality is the threat surface you face right now is going to be you clicking something, you clicking a phishing link, you getting something in your browser that escapes your browser in some way because you downloaded it or whatever. The browser is your interface. There's not much PFSense can do about that. That's actually one of the reasons why we focus so much as a business on endpoint protection. Microsoft's own tools, though, the Microsoft Defender works really well. Hello, all. Are you concerned about Lastcast may have kept your vault after you can cancel subscription? Not so much. Because I had a crazy long master password. The high entry master password is your best protection. So even if I would have been under the old, because I left it so many years ago now, under the old iterations of it, I don't think it's a huge worry because of the high entropy of my master password. Have you encountered getting a public /29 over /30? I'm looking to see if I can have 2 PFSense routers be able to NAT on these 6 public. I don't understand what you're trying to do. Yes, we have companies that have, even ourselves, we have multiple IPs on our PFSense, but I don't understand your question. Why no IPv6? It's a headache. And I can even joke that it reduces threat surface because there has been times when the threat surface is increased because of the poor implementation by manufacturers. I just don't have an interest in it. I'll let someone else do it. Turbo, fewer emissions, more economy, more power, which is why they're so prominent now. Yeah. Defender for Business is like number 6 in Gartner. Yeah. TrueNAS does not have a surveillance app. This is one of the things that makes Synology so popular is the fact that they have such a good surveillance system. The Synology surveillance station is great. It's for the price, it's hard to beat. Do I need to reset my Bitwarden account key if I update the master password to a more secure one? No, I don't think so. You choose sandbox environment as a stopgap, a lot easier to recover from a sandbox. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, /29 is easy enough. Is a 1,000 megabit connection oversold on product? I don't understand that question. Have you tried using BGP and FRMP sensor just it works well. We don't have a ton of people using it, but it's a very the reason the package is so popular is because it works so well. There's a lot of people that are using it. It works great. Uh, do you use Terraform, Vagrant, Ansible, Airflow for deployment? The answer is no. That not something goes outside of my wheelhouse for what we do. Can you access surveillance station through a browser? You're looking at it through a browser. This is actually all done to a browser and it's available as a app on my phone. So we can pull up the other one. We'll pull the app up on the phone to show you. Oh, I probably should stop. I know the sounds come through. So I'll actually switch to another tab. But works on my phone just fine. So there's my the same ones you're looking at. Hey, there's my car. So it works both on phone, works as a browser app. Being pretty backwards to straight up ignore IPv6 when everyone entered CGNet. It's some magical sauce that makes the issue go away. Um, it's an industry problem. It's not a me problem. I know where the industry is, and I deal with where the industry is. The home users are clamoring for IPv6. We have a running joke at a local Linux users group that I attend from time to time of how many times the same talk for like 15 years has been going on called, what do they call it? Like the year of IPv6. It's been like 15 times this talk has been done, maybe longer. And it's because the industry hasn't adopted it. So I'm staying where the industry is, and I'm not the problem. I'm just reacting to the fact that IPv6 support sucks on lots of products and causes sometimes problems with products not working. And people are like, well, don't you report the bugs? I'm like, yeah, good. You can go report the bug to the firewall company that didn't have the proper IPv6 set up. What UPS setup would you recommend? The one you can get on sale. That is the one that's going to be important to get. Um, uh, go. Would you deploy TrueNAS scale in a client production as primary backup to Curry device when you use it for Docker donuts and our SIM collector? Yeah, we use these. We just did a project not that long ago. I got to follow up on a project because I think it's installed now. We worked with my friend's IT company to get this done. It's 300 terabytes of Veeam storage with TrueNAS. Wait, no, that one's not running TrueNAS. That one's running it's running 45 drives. Yes, we use it with TrueNAS. A different project I'm thinking of. We have another company that has a few petabytes of storage using TrueNAS. So I've done a follow up on that video. Let's see. Great. What software does your company use to manage projects? Right now, we use a lot of spreadsheets and a Kanban board. It's actually called, what is that one called? It's the one from Google. It has a name. It's called Google Tables. This is literally how we manage stuff is with a tool called Google Tables. So, why are my questions not going through? I don't get it. If you're posting links, they're not coming through. Simple as that. You can't post links in here. That's why I have forums. Typically, AT and handoff a dash 30 and expect a public router to route a 30 client router. A second router is then a NAT to local. I don't have an answer for that question or understand completely what you're asking. A friend of mine told me that Norton and all our protection is a waste of money, claims that Windows security is enough. Yeah, Windows security is actually, even for home users, I just use Windows Defender. It works well. Yeah, we'll get IPv6 at the same time we get the Linux desktop. What weird cameras do you recommend? I don't know about weird, but I like the Amcrest ones. Hold on, I gotta fix this. Gotta close the Synology. I don't want to listen to it no more. There we go. Let's see. Amcrest cameras. At an ISP level, IPv6 is a pain. Setting up private LAN, multiple routers was your preference OSP. A private LAN with multiple routers? I don't know. It depends on the project. Well, let's go with OSPF. That seems like a more popular one as the answer. It all comes down to the scenario and context. You have to put a good scenario of what I'm trying to accomplish before I tell you what the answer is. The only people who care about IPv6 is Cisco networking people. Home users ask me about it all the time. Systems and chat is first time here. Live stream. I didn't know how long I can be here, but hello. I'll keep going for a while. Brett's talking about tables here. Blasted YT notifications. First notification said 15 minutes. Pulled up the site, said 3 hours. Then just checked because it said it was live. Weird. I thought that a high-speed internet connection is oversold because many people can't take advantage of them. Oh, yeah, that's probably true too. What is your best recommended service for off-prem backup from Synology? 24 terabyte U space, trying to offload something that works. It's not expensive. Either C2 or Backblaze is going to be the best ones there. I got 1 gig fiber at home. Be able to connect to work at the same time. Would I be able... 1 gig fiber able to connect to work at the same speed if I'd able to LAN work for us necessary? I don't understand that as a question. Cisco certs bang on IPv. I'm assuming IPv6 in field, but if in a field you forget it overnight. There's a good way to put it. You'll find it really important in this document here that we make you passing your exam. Am I going to use this? No, but we're going to make sure if you want this exam, you're going to do it. So. Yeah, someone else answering. For the OSPF versus BGP environment, it really depends on the environment. For me, I base it off of how to share the route table with third party BGP. That's probably a good explainer on there is, do you have any external routing in? Also, the best way to configure something is a protocol you're more familiar with. If someone was a BGP expert, they may be better at using it internally because they know more about that particular protocol. I got your test here. Only time I've ever had IPv6 was provisioning Nutanix boxes. Interesting. ACK. Ooh, we get to go through a whole handshake here. They talk in cluster with IPv6. That's interesting. Google Tables is in beta, US only. Well, I want to keep the live stream going, but I also want to get something to drink. What do I do? Can I get my wife to come down here and amuse people for a few minutes? I wonder if I can ask her. We'll make this fun. I'm gonna call her. I'm gonna video call her. Maybe she'll come down here. I'm gonna ask her if she wants to come down here and amuse you guys for a few minutes while I go get something to drink. I thought CCNA was a future.
Yes.
Question for you.
Yes.
Will you come downstairs and entertain people while I go upstairs and get something to drink real quick?
No, because I don't have any makeup on because I'm getting ready to go.
Okay. My wife said she's not coming down to entertain you, so I guess there's no entertainment. I'm just going to go get something to drink and come back. All right. Thanks, honey. Bye. My wife has decided not to come down here. Play some music, pause the stream. Is it too early? You know what I need to do? I don't get it. Switch to a different account. My questions are still not showing up. If you are posting links, your questions will not show up. That's as simple as I can tell you. If you post links, they don't work. If you post banned words, they don't work. Yes?
I can bring you something to drink.
No, that's fine. All right, bye. Oh, you're posting some banned word from YouTube, or some, if you post anything, there's a handful of people posting emojis I had to ban because that's actually how I've been combating the spam. You create filters for all the weird spam emojis people use. So because so many of those spammers use those same ones all the time, so clearly whatever you're posting is probably got one of those banned words. Also, if you swear, YouTube filters any swear words out. I think I turned it off to tell them not to do it, but they still, if you drop a swear word, it'll block you. 27 nodes, uptime, Kuma, after your video on it. I wish there's a way to get it not to resend notifications every minute. I think there is a way, but I don't remember. I think once it sends it, there's a way. Once you send it to say down, it stays down. I got some host web service looking behind reverse proxy. I know firewall is preferred, but does it matter if it's disabled? I don't understand the question exactly. Web services locally behind a reverse proxy. I know firewall is preferred. Well, reverse proxy, I mean, you're going to have the firewall open up to the reverse proxy. So, yeah. Where's Brett? Yeah, Brett could probably take over. I don't know if Brett can take over, though. I don't know what he's doing. Hello from Switzerland. Awesome. Firewall. You know, this came up on my last live stream. Some people love it, some people hate it. I don't have any reason I want to use it. If you like it, then try it. See if it works for you. Mike on. You want to know if my wife still works in finance and what she's doing for retirement? She is doing retirement planning for me. We put money in investments. Bitwarden. Are you going to post one word at a time until you figure out what word it is that's being blocked? Brett is cleaning his house before his wife gets home. When you send Uptime Kuma, it asks on resend notifications each time you monitor. Okay. I'm going to run upstairs real quick. Where do I do the video links? Okay, I can do a countdown. I got to set up a video clip for this. I'll hit the countdown. I'll run on upstairs, do my thing, and then I'll be... All right, there we go. Ready for more live stream. I love doing these live streams. They're fun. Chair stream. Yeah, I'm going to make a video for that. I didn't think... let's see. Brett Sham's yeah, Brett's not wearing any makeup either. They only have a 30-second one. I got to make a better one, so yes. 18 thing is asking about the fact that they were out. Yeah, AT&T has different weird ways they do things. I don't have one to test. Oh, IPv4 ran out a long time ago. Large blocks of IPv4. Tom, does your video on home firewall rule allow you to block IPs from the net from getting to pfSense routers on the admin page? Yes. Yes, it does. So if we go to firewall rules, share this tab. Where's it at? CamLAN. This rule right here blocks those ports. So it says you can't talk to the firewall. This is the rule that does it. Net data versus, I don't know the other, never heard of the other one, so I'm going to say net data. What firewall to use? pfSense. What app is up on the screen? I had net data on there earlier. Magic like CGNAT is how we solved all these problems. Yes. What is your home lab power budget? Do you monitor your home lab power usage at all? Yes, no. I would have to leave my chair to go look because I've never tied. I have an APC. It tells me how many watts I'm using. And I'm going to do what's in my home rack versus what's in my office rack. But yes, it does know the wattage. You know, I don't think this is, I'll throw this out here because people are going to, I love this. This is from a long time ago. I don't know if there's a copyright strike that will come from this, so I'm not going to play it. But this is a, When the Rooters Died. This is such a great parody song. It's still one of my favorites. It's from forever ago. What is this, from 15 years ago? That's when we were running out of IPv4 space. Let's see here. On a pfSense, can you block internet on default VLAN and have all our VLANs have internet? Yes. Wonder if you should ask ChatGPT and see if you get back on blocking rules. Love your pfSense setup. Set up my firewall halfway through. Still haven't finished the video yet. Awesome. I mean, it's nice heating in Michigan winters, but I'm pushing close to 500 watts, and now it's either cut back or looking at solar systems. Yeah, that's definitely an issue. Nope, I have not. I just don't care enough, so I haven't. Like, Techno Tim has probably the best video. I just tell people, watch Techno Tim's video on NUT. He's got it all documented really well. I just don't use it. So that's not where I do a video. I was hoping, I'm running the 2301 beta of pfSense, and it's still in beta. Soon. Thank you again for the donation. If you watch Tom's videos, give me a sandwich. Yeah, Tom likes sandwiches. I hear crack dealers have blocks of IP4 addresses hoarded. No, certain universities are sitting on massive amount of addresses. So many big corps sitting on whole subnets of IPv4, public IPs, never use them. Yeah, I have friends that work at universities, can confirm. Universities aren't just sitting on them. They start public IP addressing all the things because they have so many of them. I do like spicy sandwiches. Public internet to Bitwarden home setup, risky or use VPN? Is that the question you've been trying to ask for like an hour? If you run anything publicly and you don't have a plan to keep it managed and up to date, don't do it. That's where the risk comes in. If there was a flaw found, how fast could you fix it? How fast would you be aware of it? What's your mechanism for being aware of flaws in products? If you can't answer those questions, you probably shouldn't publicly expose it. So that's my thought. You may as well let them handle the infrastructure if you can't handle the infrastructure. PFSense has a nut package as well. This is true. You can do this in PFSense. You can also do this with Synology. So if we pull up my Synology server, I'll actually point this out. This may be something people are interested in. So if we go to the control panel and we go to the UPS, you can actually control inside your Synology. I tell it to shut down if the UPS has been off for 6 minutes. And then permitted by Synology NAS. I have 2 more systems that are allowed to talk to the Synology NAS. What does that mean? Well, Synology has its own version essentially of NUT. And then you can go here. We're going to pull up my Home Assistant. And you can get things like my battery runtime is right here, all done through talking these things together. This is why I don't bother running NUT. I just don't care. So I care that there's runtime on it and things like that, but I'm not really tracking it that much. By the way, I love Home Assistant. I am going to do a video on Home Assistant because it's how I do, the things like if you can kind of see behind me, there's like a lamp on a shelf we can just change colors of. Oops, I think I changed the color of the wrong one. Did I? Yes, I'm doing this wrong light. That's change that one back. It's the lamp I wanted to change color. There we go. The little lamp right there. I can just make it green or whatever. I'm going to do a whole video on how I set all this up and give people some ideas because Home Assistant's awesome for doing all this. Last contract had pub/24 35 3050 IPs. Yep. You have a question. Installing Ubuntu container and Docker on Synology? No, because there's no official Ubuntu containers from Ubuntu. Therefore, I don't run them. We really need to get to IPv6. We really do not need to get IPv6 anytime soon. Yeah, you're right. How do you like the 8200? I have a 6200, which is overkill. 8200 has been great. I'm too lazy to babysit my Bitwarden. Yep. I really don't know how good those will work on PFSense. I haven't bothered with any. One day, maybe I'll do an integration. It's not today, though. Here's to you, Tom. Thank you for your content. I'm studying for CCNA now. I'm a little disappointed to hear IP4 is still being used. You're going to be very disappointed once you get into the enterprise world and realize it's used all over the place. I remember working in a DoD, tons of space. No one else is ever going to use until the heat death of the universe. No, we're going to come up with a replacement for IPv4 that won't be IPv6. It'll be something yet again that actually gets better market adoption. CGNAT, you're right. Do you run Home Assistant? No, I run Home Assistant on a Raspberry Pi. And the reason I run it on a Raspberry Pi is because that allows me to have a nice low-powered device that can do wake on LAN for all the other devices if I need to. So if I want to power down any of my other devices, I can power them all down and I can set them all to wake on LAN if needed to wake them up to do other things. I like it just being on its own independent thing. Plus, I'm using Z-Wave and I'm using Zigbee, and I don't have to deal with USB pass-through. Nope, there is an official Ubuntu. Oh, I'm sorry, Ubuntu. I read that as UniFi. Yeah. There is one for Ubuntu. I read it as UniFi, so that is my mistake. My college gives every Wi-Fi device a public IP. If If you want to use an Ubuntu container, but prevent it from run, use a command. If anyone's interested, flash a Sophos XG to work on pfSense. Yeah, Sophos XG appliances are x86, at least all the ones I've seen. So yeah, you can reflash them to run Ubuntu. Yes, Alpine Linux is used to base a lot of Docker containers off of. That is correct. Hi, Time. Thanks for all your videos and guides. Do you know if Netgate 1100 and 2100 support the upcoming pfSense breach for eBSD 14? No, as far as I know, they do. I don't see why they wouldn't. Most common security fart that most people have, things IPs can secure because they don't understand NAT is not secure. Microsoft just had some CVEs related to IPv6. And you can say it's all about proper firewall rules, but when the firewalls don't properly handle IPv6, then there's your problem. Does Home Assistant support Matter? You know, what devices even support Matter? I imagine Home Assistant will, but what is there a list of popular Matter devices like that are, I don't know. I'd have to do some reading on this. I like this here. Here's a this is a top article I found with a quick Google search. State announced, ready for Amazon Electra. Announced. It's more announced. It feels very new. So I don't know. Probably Home Assistant. I imagine Home Assistant will support it. I also think Matter is a dumb name. They look at auto completed. Oh, look, it does support it. So the integration will communicate and control Matter devices on your Wi-Fi network. So yes. Someone's trying to pop out. What? Favorite weekly series on the streams. Awesome. I love doing these. These are fun. I like answering everybody's questions. Currently used on Tingle on a Protect Telly, but it's getting replaced with pfSense as soon as that $150 versatile license comes up for renewal this year. Do you have some incredible videos with great guides? I'm a little too intimidated at this point. What's the most jank tech system you're running in your home that you rely on? I wouldn't really say anything I do is jank because I just don't. I've always been like, let's get this done right. But I don't know. That would be that's a hard one for me to easily answer. I'd have to find a really old. I have a photo of wow. How would I'm trying to figure out how I can quickly find this. Maybe some setup I did forever ago. I mean, I got to go really back on this one. Because I have some old pictures from where would it be? I mean, this is one of the networks that I didn't build all this. Some of it's just my mess. This was in 2004, and it was when the budget kind of ran out for the company, and I was still working there and doing things. Oh, my wife wants to join now. Now she'll join in a live stream.
Yeah. Now I got which way? Over here.
Yeah, there.
All right. Now I got my hair done and my makeup
Yes.
on.
So now she joins for a live stream.
So hi everyone. Bye everyone. I'm taking off.
Have fun.
Thanks.
So yeah, I mean, look at the date on this. This was 19 years ago. HA is the bomb. It runs everything in my home, and it's pretty solid. So I guess as you have all your lights and not on IoT network, did you make a network just for the stuff that runs on Home Assistant is running on Zigbee and Z-Wave. So because I'm using Zigbee and Z-Wave, I don't really have any special networking needs on there. Does your daughter ask you for tech tips? She does not. Crap is better. Got something MacGyvered somewhere. You mean your whole infrastructure rely on some old obscure hardware with Russian firmware that you found in forums? I know I'm weird. I mean, we replace these things all the time. You got to remember, my first job in the bigger budget space was almost 20 years ago. So I've always sure, I kludged all kinds of things together in the 90s when I was first getting started, but I don't even have pictures of that. So the default 15 amp charger for my Tesla. Yeah, that is. I don't really use that. Oh, I used to be an RS6000 administrator. That's an IBM RS6000 running AIX. So yeah, let me see what else I have in here. I may have some older pictures of different setups I had from way back when. My desk from 2002. I found a picture of that. I used to custom do computers. Like, I'd never put the side on it, but I do cool logos and stuff. But yeah, this is my messy desk. Those are my NEC multi-sync. That's my firewall running right there, by the way, in the back corner. So yes, I was running open source firewalls. This is in 2002. I was still running open source firewalls back then. I was full on tinfoil hat as far as that's concerned. Like, because people were like, oh, no, you can't run your own. You got to go Cisco. And here I was, over more than 20 years ago running open source firewalls. So I can, in a very literal sense, I've been using these things for over 20 years. So yes, I've definitely, the old school stuff. And there's hey, I actually love what this picture shows. So let me throw this picture in here. This picture, I want you to read what's on the screen here. It says smooth wall. So can you see where it says smooth wall on the screen? That was the firewall I was running at the time, was actually smooth wall. So, and this is on February 8th of 2003, and that's my daughter. So yes, I got some old pictures. As far as live streams, like when Tom streams from home and Tom included, all sat around and drink our favorite adult beverages. Yeah. Wow, the old RS6, hated the old RS6000. They were fun. Old CRTs, the good old days. Yes. Even a printer. Pix would have been popular, but I moved to monowall. This is what got me in there, but I was using smooth wall. So yeah, it's smooth wall was Linux based, I believe. Boy, it's been a long time. How old am I? I'm almost 50. It's running a PVE node and a Haswell PFSense VM. Awesome. Monowall. Ooh, Tom and the LGR collab for Legacy Firewall build. Who else wants it? That would be fun. I actually really like that. Oh, this is fun. Printers are evil. Managing them is not fun. I don't have any good. There's some software we pay for. If Travis is still in here, he'll reply. I don't remember what it is. I don't even know if it's that good. Oh, let's see. I'm trying to think. What else do I have? I have a lot of old photos. I'm trying to figure out which ones are relevant. Me before I had gray hair. I'm older than you expected. That's funny. I use IP cop as well. Ran my own Linux firewall in the 90s. ISP liked the results, ended up running their firewalls for years. Awesome. Printix, that's the one. Like, if you want to know which one I hate the least, you can't say which one do you like. You can say which one do we hate the least. And Travis said Printix. So, yes, isn't that really just what it's all a matter of? Is what do you hate the least? What is the least hated ones you have? Let me see if I can find some of these other old computer photos. I could probably make an archive of all these and it'd be easier to find them. Maybe. Somewhere. Still looking. I thought I had a collection of specifically computer pictures, but maybe I don't. Maybe one day we'll do a video, take a trip down nostalgia lane or something like that. So that could be fun, right? I love the idea of doing an old firewall review. That would be interesting. Firewalls have changed so much. Oh, here's a fun one I can throw in a stream here. The me being at the hacker conferences was, and it's funny, I ran someone. This is, and you can look this up. It's in the archive. There's a Wikipedia page for it. This is Rubicon 2002. It was a hacking convention here in Detroit. So did all devices have public IPs? Everything was over Telnet. We were managing things on the internet with Telnet, man. I don't know how we survived. Basically, the internet worked because people weren't being nefarious. That's the only reason it worked back then. Nothing was secure. Do you have a total new PF Sense tutorial? I want to say my 2020 getting started video is as close as I have to that. In Bosnia back in 96, we ran Cat TV everywhere, built the first deployment network. Hated it with all the passion. Never seen before because someone always unplugged a terminator. Oh, yes. Yeah. Old firewall, IP chains. Boy, you're going to dig in there. Smooth wall. Later made routers and public NAT, IP mounted wall. Yeah. It's crazy when you've been in the market this long. Have you looked in Storoxa NAS? They're building NAS router. Nope, not interested. I don't think NAS and router should be on the same place. There is no cloud manage option for PF Sense. That is a question. I got to do a video called like PF Sense for MSPs and kind of explain that there's not that feature. Smooth wall, you can still download it, but it has not been updated in forever. Well, that makes it fun. First email address was back in 93. Back in 93, I would have been on BBSs. So I couldn't tell you what my email address. I don't think I had one in 93. Maybe I did. I was using a company called Netcom. They were my ISP. So I would have had a Netcom email address. Yeah, public routed IPs all over the place. For sure. Matter of fact, you think about it. I used to love, I didn't get into Pine until probably 97 or 98. But yes, I was, I guess, a little late to Pine. But I remember Pine Mail. Is Pine Mail still around? Oh, man. Wait, I found it. Here, someone asked the question. I dug it up here. You said, what's Tom's? This is my gaming server, not the one I play games on, but this is what I use to serve up games. My favorite is the power supply broke. And so that's the power switch. It had dual power supply options, and I fixed and soldered together a few things. And this was my Unreal server. I used to run Unreal Tournament on this. There you go. My best friend at UNC studies his Pines this very day. Awesome. I'm glad it's still around. You worked at US Robotics back when you dialed in. Nice. Yeah, so this was probably I rebuilt everything a lot nicer later. But yes. This was a beast. I wish I had higher res photos of this. There's my RCA cable modem. You like that? You like my KVM sitting on top with some CDs? This was my firewall right here. So that ran the firewall. So it came in here, went to the firewall. There's a switch on the floor somewhere. I think that was the key. I don't think that was my switch. That was the KVM at the top here, I think. Man, it's been a long time. But yes. Oh, only one piece of RAM, by the way. You see the RAM? One stick of RAM. But that was enough because this ran Linux. So there's someone, I found it. There's definitely, we're going to put a star on that. And, oh, there's the switch. I found it. So here's the other photo with the switch. So this was the firewall. And there's the switch. It was a Samsung switch I had in there. What was my IP address back then? It looks like, yep. I had Comcast, so it was that was my I've now showed you my public IP address from what year was this? 2002. I don't have the same IP address. Okay, so this is old picture for sure. I'm gonna put a star on that one. So if I have to find it again, someone's gonna ask again, and I'm gonna say definitely. Probably against, yes. I loved Unreal Tournament. That was my favorite. I ran a bunch of other stuff. I ran my own website. I ran all kinds of stuff. Well, there was a hub. So technically you're right. It was, I said switch, but these can I read the model number here? It looks like a SH2224S. Let me see if I can still find these. SH224S. I think that's the right number. It's a Samsung S. It's the internet, so there's probably one of these floating around here somewhere. Trying to find if I can find it. But there's probably a hub. Who knows? Maybe mine's on eBay somewhere. I'm not finding it. It's too old. It was retired equipment in 2004 when I put this in. So what were the speeds those steps? I don't remember. I liked Unreal better than Quake. I played both, but yeah. 10100 hub. That sounds right. I realize I was old when they knew Hire did not know the sound to dial up. Yeah, I would say a lot. Not all my staff knows about it. This is probably still at my office somewhere. Yeah. Samsung made networking stuff. Now you're knowing I'm dating myself for this. No, I wonder if we can. I don't think these are actually old enough that you can't find them on. Yeah, I'm not even finding them on eBay. You know it's old when someone's not trying to shuck it on eBay with. Yeah, I'm not even finding old ones on eBay here. But yeah, Samsung made that we had some. Those are some great times playing Quake and Half-Life. Half-Life was great. I won't lie. Found it on eBay. They're asking $200. Wow. Still have the US. I actually, I probably should. I don't really keep old stuff. I'm not a big nostalgia person. If I look in even my random drawer next to me, there's not much nostalgia in here. I'm trying to figure out the oldest thing in my junk drawer, which isn't much. Yeah, there's not even. I can't even think of anything old in here. Nope, none of this is old. Yep. I thought I had one adapter in here that was old, but nope. You'll find a lack of nostalgia with me. I just don't keep old stuff. I don't like old stuff. The only old stuff I've kept, and I mentioned this earlier, was I don't know. I have to look to see what the oldest one I have is. But some of these issues of 2600, this is the 2002 edition of 2600. Whoop. So some of these are older. That's about it. This is from 2002. But hardware wise, I don't. Other than old books, I don't really have any old hardware. I scrap it all. Mondo 2000. Bring back the epic LAN party. I think online gaming has offered a convenience of scale and convenience of, my son plays a lot of people online, and I think that's awesome. But there was something really like in-person things are still cool. As much as I'm an online person and hiding in my studio a lot, I do like occasional technical group interactions. So, and gaming was a great way to do a lot of that. Had the 9600 before that, couldn't afford the 28.8. Oh, yeah, I know. Courier's flash for the 56K. Yeah. What mic for streaming and recording? I think this Yeti is one of your best ones. That's what this is right here. I recommend the Yeti for anyone getting started and on a budget. Once you want something a little bit better, like I use the Yeti, which is what I'm using right now. But when I want to go higher end, like for my actual studio stuff, it's Sennheiser. Descent. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, when IRS first did rapid refunds, they required CPs to have a 4800. Wow. Yeah. Crazy stuff. I do miss the LAN parties back in the college day, Halo with Ethernet cables running all around. Yeah, they were just a good time doing those. I see people recommending the Elgatos. Elgato makes nice stuff. I use the Elgato capture cards. I think they make solid stuff. Oh yeah. We used to do these the Linux users group. We had these distro install days, and we would just help people install things. That was always fun in the early Linux days. Everyone would come to the Linux users meetup, and this was in the 90s, and it would be to get your stuff running. And they'd have all of us Linux experts would be there and would teach you how to get things loaded and how to set up your systems and stuff like that. It was always a lot of fun. Free space. Yes. PC board for the win. Hello from the Ukraine. Awesome. Worked for the State Department of the Army back in the day. Supported 9,600 dedicated modem links to all the U.S. embassies around the world 1980s. Wow. Ooh, yeah. IPX, SPX, and the TCPI config. It's how I learned a lot, too. Have I played Matt with Mass? Nope. I think Techno Tim did a video on it. The lug meetup still do that. That's awesome. Yes, I had a 3DFX card. I don't think I have a picture of it. But the old 3DFX cards, man, those were cool. There we go. 3DFX, these ones right here. Oh, these were so cool. And this is how they worked. You looped through them to get the 3DFX stuff working. They were so, I think there's a couple of like the Linux gamer people that did videos on these. 3DFX was a really cool thing. I miss computers from the 90s. We can go to shop all unique cases and couldn't even find in Computer Shopper. Yeah. I asked around about XCV GPU pass-through for gaming productivity VM. Anyone been successful? Proxmox is great for this, but switching XCV PNG. I don't use it much, so I'm not the expert on it. I know it's possible, but I don't know much about it. '90s working for a computer store and playing Command & Conquer. Awesome. I remember seeing some Banyan Vines. I never really used it. Voodoo cards. Yes. Voodoo 2 SLI. I don't know who the cheapest registrar is. I use Hover. I don't use Hover because they're the cheapest. I use them because they're not garbage. It really was good for the Quake performance. The reason PKA and Outlook is because redacted paid MSS to create Office 2000. MS rolled it up to Office 2003. Yeah. Yep. Oh, ATI all-in-wonder capture cards. There was a project that was for capturing all your live TV. I had one of those ATI capture cards to record TV shows. It was like an ATI capture card NVR. This was in the early days. I learned a lot about that stuff back then. Google Domains isn't bad either. They make it convenient, obviously, to tie it to any of your Google services. Like I said, my biggest reason for using Hover, and this actually came up in one of the, we had a home lab show we did all about domains. And one of the complaints someone had was the fact that we didn't tell people the cheapest place to buy them. But me and Jay both like Hover because they're just a good company to deal with and they're easy to deal with. I miss the fact that they used to have their concierge service, which I think they discontinued, but still they're easy people to deal with. Their support is solid. And, I think they're reasonably priced. Never used Namecheap, so I don't have an opinion on them. Google does not do .tv. Yeah. Cloudflare has a registrar as well. That's true. Based on the replies, I'll start over under at oh. I thought it was cool because those ATI All-in-Wonder cards always had a cool look to them as well. AGP based one, but yeah, they were pretty cool for the time. I see someone has retro hardware for it, retro hardware videos, which is cool. Like I said, though, it's like I don't keep any of this old hardware. I've had all this stuff and I just throw it all out. Even in my office, we purge a lot. Like I go through and go, why do I have all this? I ask myself that question very frequently. Like, what is this? Why do I have it? Do I need to keep it? Let's see. Someone says Namecheap sucks. My age is over 60, retired network admin for about 2.5 years. Still like to play. I think it keeps you young. Keeps your brain thinking. Love your content. Think it up. You're loving Papa West, and that's good to hear. Ooh, Sound Blaster Pro. I mean, I tried the Gravis ones. I even had some of the Turtle Beach stuff at one time I tried, and I didn't like the Turtle Beach at all. I remember that being the most trouble, but the Sound Blaster with your DOS configs that you had to push for it, yes. We do recycle. Yeah, when I say purge it, it does all get recycled. That's where it all ends up. Green versus red PCBs, yeah. Purchases them on eBay? Frequently not. Well, yes, no. There's another computer company that is by us that likes to put stuff on eBay, and I just give stuff to them. Like, I know it's got some value. Maybe they're making $30 or $40 here and there, and I don't care. But we'll give them stuff, and they might put it on eBay. So we do. I'm just too lazy to do it, and I don't have that much old stuff that's worth putting on eBay. By the way, by the time I get rid of it, it's really very little of value. Those aren't cable modems? No, those are TV tuner cards on the ATI. I forgot some of the stuff that Namecheap told them to give all the stuff verified, told me they wouldn't help me. I'd never use Namecheap again. I don't use them, so I don't have any real opinion. Old ISA device allows you to back up your hard drive to VHS tape. Yeah. Does anyone here play a multi-boot Windows restart? Oh, I wouldn't run multi-boot. Lawrence Systems, but Brett Chittum says your Samsung hub is still in the back room. Sorry. I don't think so, but there's a chance. I don't have any of the old floppies. Never throw out your cables and adapters ever. No, we had so many, we had to reduce the number we had. We used to just keep collecting them until one day we realized you didn't measure them in quantity, you measured them in pounds. So once you measure them by weight, yeah. I don't use multi-boot because it's a headache. One of the updates from one of the operating systems breaks something, and then you've got more work to do than you planned. So, I mean, I don't care if you use it. I'm saying I don't use it because it's a headache. iOmega zip drives. Ooh, I remember zip drives. Technically, I do have a multi-boot environment because I have 2 NVMEs, and I flip-flop which NVMe I boot. Right now I'm booted into my business one, but this same system shuts down the other NVMe. It's encrypted at rest, so I'm not worried about it. And then I can boot up my other system if I want. So I do have it, so I can run Windows on this computer as needed, but it is a 2 separate NVMEs. It's not exactly multi-boot because I'm doing it with the BIOS. I use multi-boot for my laptop between Windows and Kali. Yeah, I mean, works fine to update Linux. Yeah. I just prefer to run things in a VM. That's an easier solution. My zip drive is clicking. If your zip drive is even working, I'm impressed. It's been a few years for those. Lap link and parallel ports. Yep. Yeah, you can probably fire this up here. It hasn't been updated, so I guess I could fire it up. But if we say present, share screen. There, now I have Windows. You can do this. You just got to click on the right screen. But yeah, this is Windows running inside of a virtual machine. That's my answer to running Windows. It boots up really fast. It gets the things done. So most of the time, I just use this. First install Windows, connect drive, other install Linux, when Linux installed, plug in box. Yeah, I think there's different ways to do it, but my preference is really not to multi-boot. Actually, this one hasn't been on for a while. There's probably updates. Hey, look, there's updates. So I can let this run and run these updates in the background and do its thing, whatever it is this thing is doing. But I rarely need to run this. It's usually just for demonstrations for YouTube. That's probably my biggest reason for using this. Outside of that, it just doesn't really get used much. Fun stuff. Watch Windows updates go. Also, Linux updates are way smoother. You set up the Windows services for Linux under Ubuntu. Awesome. Does the trick. Windows updates, as fast as this system is, Windows updates are just so painfully slow. And I know VirtualBox doesn't have the best disk performance, but just in general, Windows updates are just awful. Is it still downloading? Come on. Download so we can do the install. It's grinding away doing something, I'm sure. Oh, I must have uninstalled that. There we go. Now we can click install now. I'll update this because if not, I'll go to do a video and I want to update this. I forget. I think it's been a month since I did a Windows video or a video where I used Windows. So I may as well get it update now while I'm doing a live stream here. It's a Saturday or no, it's a Sunday. It's not a normal work day. It's a weekend work day. Use Edge down. VMware or Hyper-V? Neither. I use XCP-ng. I wouldn't use Hyper-V. Especially on Windows servers, I have a server at work spend 2 hours shutting down, rebooting every time it runs updates. Yeah. I mean, if you like license fees, VMware is for you. VMware is popular. They have a lot of good system. I'm just dogging on them because they're expensive, but you know, we have clients using it. VMware is a thing. I just don't push it. When did you get used to Windows command line updates? Windows seems, yes. We use it because some clients have it, but we're not pushing it to people. Like, it's not my go-to solution. Windows always, yeah, yes. Is there a way to open a VM and XCP separate browser tab instead of being nested inside as an orchestra? Not really. It's all done inside of Zen Orchestra, so I don't understand what you're trying to do. Oh, my wife didn't. This is different. Start menu changed. Yeah, it's just messy. Windows updates are like watching paint dry very fast. Yeah. Which wiki do I use? MediaWiki. My office mates never update their machines. It drives me crazy. Oh, yes. If you give people the choice, they won't update them. That is for sure. Still going? Yeah. Pending. Status installing. Do. Put something like the task manager up. What's it chewing on? Go, Windows, go. Whatever Windows is doing. My guess is disk. Who's betting on disk activity? We'll let those. There we got something rolling in the background there. They do officially support CFS. We use it for personally and for clients. Yes, we use a lot for clients. We use it in the commercial enterprise. We have clients that have like over 2,000 VMs in some of their pools. So you could say we use it at some larger clients. The group policies for schedule auto restart or barely even work. Yeah, we use Ninja RMM to manage all of our Windows systems. We need some Windows. Yeah, Windows should just play Jeopardy music while it does this. Look at this thing run, man. Try and get these windows. Come on. There we go. That looks better. 20% disk pinned at 100. Whatever. Is that an HDD? No, this is actually on NVMe. Using Proxmox right now. What are the things XCP does better or worse? I have a whole video where I break it down in more detail, but you're with Proxmox versus XCP-ng, they're just very different architectures. I think XCP-ng scales better, but home lab people are usually happier with Proxmox because it gives them more things to do and different levels of integration. Oh, your OneDrive is almost full. 5 gig warning. Yeah, funny. Is Ninja more affordable compared to? I don't think there's a massive price difference. It's not about cost savings. It was more about functionality. That's why we switched from SolarWinds or /enable. Do you have the Bitward mobile app installed? No. And the reason why is because I use 2FA on my phone, and I don't want my 2FA to live where my password manager lives. Is Windows Server monitoring and patching with Intune or Azure thing or a thing on Horizon? We use an RMM tool for it called Ninja One. Windows update process, single thread, a lot of process, especially the malicious software update thing, kick off the optional update as well. Yeah. Fun stuff. Look at this thing go. It's still, it takes forever. I just let it run in the background. It's like, it'll get done when it gets done. I just need to remember to do it more often so I don't run into the problem of when I go do a video, it's broke. Event logs, yeah. Well, I've been going for 2.5 hours, so I'm probably going to wind it down. This was definitely a lot of fun, though. Oh, let's see. By the time Windows installs a couple updates, a Linux machine would do a complete release upgrade. You are correct. And I have a Linux VM on this as well. If I spun that up, I could update my Ubuntu to a new release, and it would probably be perfectly fine. It'd probably run in parallel to this and be done already. Oh, is it Super Bowl time, or is that next week? Isn't Super Bowl coming up soon? Look at iTop. I don't know what not sure where your iTop is. Super Bowl's next week. Brett knows more about sport ball than I do. I don't know much about sport ball. It was fun. Lots of nostalgia / humor. Enjoy your rest of your Sunday, gentlemen. Time for a Costco run. Well, have fun at Costco. Super Bowl is 2/12/23. I know. I mean, I'm not a big baseball fan either. So Super Bowl is like. Does it handle Windows? Yes, it does, but not great. There's a way to do it. Google it. The first search result, if you type in Graylog Windows, is the explainer and how to set it up and how it works. The problem is Microsoft's event log system is garbage. iTop is an open source. I've never used it, so. VMs on Zen, my home server. I need something mobile. I was thinking about dual boot. Windows is primary OS. Super Bowl, like a big bowl of milk and cornflakes. We'll go with that. I mean, last year, they played a lot of cool music in the halftime show. So there was that. I think I watched the halftime show. That's about it. I don't even know who played last year, and I don't know who's playing this year. Well, I know one thing. The one thing I do know about the Super Bowl. I'm from Detroit, and the Detroit Lions are never in it. There's my knowledge of Super Bowl. So the Detroit Lions are never in a Super Bowl, which may bother some people. The commercials, yes. I would say I'll end the live stream when Windows is done, but I don't get that kind of patience. Because I may start another live stream on Thursday, and this may not be done doing whatever it's doing. So I'll let it keep doing, because it's 73%. Lots of CPU usage here. Do I need more RAM? Oh, a little more disk rating. Fun stuff. We did not. No Ansible Graylog script. That's not working. I think this is a really good point. I brought that up too, because so few people realize how small. I mean, America is influential on a global scale, but on a population scale, we're really small compared to the rest of the world. We only represent about 5% of the total global population. And when you interact, as I have, with people from around the world, you think about things a little bit differently, because you're right. The World Series doesn't include the world. Not really. It's where it's so American focused. Now, at least World Cup, that's the soccer one, right? I think the soccer, or football as it's called outside of America, at least does include a larger, more global audience. At least I think so. I don't watch any of them, even that. Like a true fellow not knowing anything about sports. I don't follow either. Yeah. I am from Canada. Look how small we are, but bigger land. Oh, yes. Football, not soccer. Yes. We need to stream when the updates finish. Longest stream ever. I'll run out of energy before I do that. I don't really, here's the thing. As much as I was into building hot rods and stuff like that, I don't attend or follow a lot of the motorsports stuff. I watch occasionally some videos on YouTube about it, but I'm not a big motorsports follower. I like building it. I like driving fast. I like motorcycles, but I don't watch a lot of other videos on it as a topic. Hey, we love getting off topic on these live streams. It's all right. That's what we're here for. Have some fun. Have some conversation. Does it have a Hemi? Windows, 25 years of professionally, consequently wasting your computer's resources. Yeah, for sure. Yep, I see the I/O ramping up again. Hey, look, it might be done. Is it done? Oh, 74. It went from 73 to 74%. So progress has been made. This is just going to run in the background for a while, folks. Yeah, top fuel drag is wild. So let's see. Windows update's fake. It's just mining Dogecoin. Yeah, maybe. Pull updates. It doesn't pull the updates during install. You can reinstall it. It's just a different pane. It is a challenge. All right. Well, I'm going to end it here. I have a few things I'm going to go do. So thank you all for joining. Do you have your own AS or have you need IP? I don't need that. So I don't have that. I know what you're asking. I don't have one. But thanks you all for joining. I'm going to go do some more stuff and things, and you all have fun. Thanks. And live on Thursday, maybe live next weekend before the Super Bowl. Maybe during the Super Bowl, but not during the halftime show. Maybe we'll watch the halftime show together. Well, that would get me in trouble, but we'll figure it out. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks everyone who donated. See you next time.